Well, I wanted to share a few things. My report's not as long as usual. I'm hoping we can have discussion and sharing and announcements. But a couple things. First, last Friday, I had the honor and pleasure of attending our students' business presentation at the annual Goldman Sachs Local College Cooperative presentations in Manhattan at Goldman Sachs. 9 of our students presented their business proposal to NRG, which is a Princeton-based green energy company and a collaborative sponsor. How many of you are familiar with the Goldman Sachs Collaborative? Most of you are, yeah. So it's a collaborative of Hudson County Community College, NJCU, St. Peter's University, and Borough of Manhattan Community College. Can everybody hear me? And the students at each college spend a year preparing a business proposal to one of the business sponsors, and then they all come together and they give their proposals, and there's a panel of judges that actually give them the feedback. And the company sponsors really are interested in their ideas and often act upon them. It's fantastic. I was really impressed. I just want to say our students were absolutely spectacular, as were the teams from NJCU, St. Peter's University, and Borough of Manhattan Community College. Business instructor Peter Cronrath and Director of Career Services Tori Marino mentored our students. Are either of them here? I don't think they can make it today. But they work with our students, and the students are just glowing about the support and mentorship that they receive and the outcomes of this learning experience. So while they're not here, we thank them in absentia for the wonderful support of our students. And on Monday, we were delighted to host New Jersey Secretary of Higher Education Zakiya Smith-Ellis and Higher Education Student Assistance Authority Executive Director David Sokolow for the kickoff of the Secretary's Garden State graduation tour of New Jersey colleges and universities. How many of you were able to attend that? Good, some of you did. We had a standing room only crowd of students, faculty, staff, and community leaders on the 6th floor of the Gabriel Library, including State Senator and Senate Higher Education Chair Sandra Cunningham and State Assemblywoman Angela McKnight. We discussed college affordability, student success, and the Community College Opportunity Grant, or CCOG, among other topics. And as always, our students spoke eloquently and persuasively. We had a whole bunch of students around a horseshoe table, each taking their turn and offering their perspectives. And then following the program, Vice President Lisa Doherty, incoming SGA President Warren Rigby, peer leader and international student Paula Kolmala, and I gave Secretary Smith-Ellis and Executive Director Sokolow a tour of the Gabriel Library STEM building and this building. It was really a great day. Our guests were most complimentary of the discussion, our students, the campus, and the success of our college. And I saw them yesterday in Trenton, and they repeated that again. We had very short notice about this visit, and I want to especially thank Lisa Doherty for spearheading the planning, as well as many of our colleagues I know in IT, facilities, and student affairs. Just try getting 20 mics on short notice. I want to thank everybody. It was a good day for us. And then yesterday, HCCC student Coral Booth and I attended the New Jersey Senate budget hearing in Trenton. It's budget time, as we all know. Coral's not here, is she? Like so many of our students, Coral's story is absolutely inspirational. She's a recipient of the Community College Opportunity Grant, and we attended the hearing to demonstrate our support for the continuation and expansion of the CCOG going forward. And I might note, we are #1 of the community colleges in the number of CCOG students served last spring, in spite of all the challenges. Matt Fessler and Lisa and their whole team, and Sylvia, and I shouldn't start mentioning people because this is truly a work of so many, but we were able to serve, I think when it's all said and done, 700 plus students, $700,000 in aid. So Coral's a recipient of the CCOG, and we were there showing support. I spoke about Coral in a recent op-ed that I was asked to write regarding the CCOG. She's a multi-talented and trailblazing student, mother, sibling, and professional who's destined for much continued success. I have to tell you, the ride down and back and the whole day we were there, just talking to her and hearing her story was phenomenal. I mean, I know I keep saying this, our students are unbelievably, I know you know this, are unbelievably inspirational. I mean, she's raising 4 boys, ages, the oldest one's 18, like ages 6 to 18. She came here, I didn't even recognize her when I met her downstairs. Her hair was done. She looks like she just got out of high school. She's 40 years old. She didn't think she could come back to school and manage all of the barriers, including funding, and her 2 parents were just completely supportive of her, saying, you can do it, we'll help you. The parents helped with childcare needs. She came. She didn't think she could succeed. She quickly found out not only could she succeed, but she could succeed at a very high level. And then she lost both parents, like within the course of a year with us. They both passed. She was actually in a class here when she got the news that her mother's passing. In fact, she had been, not to go too far into this, but she had been at her mom's bedside. It was, she knew that the family knew it was the end. And she had class. And her mother said, you get to class. And she did, and she got the phone call. And so she says today, you know, whenever I'm doing something at the college, I picture my parents in the front row because they would be there supporting me. Meanwhile, her son is in our LEAP program and is going to graduate high school with over a year of credits finished. And it goes on and on. She's extremely well-read. She's, this summer, with the support of faculty here, she's writing a novel.
Right.
What can I say? Well, we're so blessed to have those kinds of stories. So it was really a joy to be with her. And I'm exceedingly pleased to share that we've reached a tentative agreement with our Academic Administrative Association that was ratified by the membership on Wednesday and will be included on next Tuesday's Board of Trustees agenda for approval by our Board of Trustees. And if approved, and I expect it will be, the 4-year contract will make significant progress in addressing salary and related issues. And I want to thank everyone who was involved in the negotiations process: Jose Lowe, Angela Tuzo, Christine Peterson, Phil Cavasso, NJEA Representative Ming McCall, Vivian Ray, Anna Kropitsky, Veronica Zeitner, Lisa Doherty, Eric Friedman, sort of on the sidelines playing a huge role, and our college counsel, Sean Dias. So how about a round of applause? That's a huge. And we continue to make progress in negotiations with our other 3 unions, and I thank everyone involved for their dedication and collaborative approach in these important discussions that focus on our shared goals. I'm also pleased to tell you our Student Center renovation is progressing well, and Elliot, you can chime in if I'm wrong on any of this. Demolition is nearly completed, and the construction phase is expected to begin in about a week.
Well, the demolition will be completed by the end of this week, which is today. The construction stage is supposed to start on Monday.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, it's a different stage than the first one.
Okay. So I want to thank those of you who attended our recent kickoff of this project. Many students, faculty, staff, and community leaders were present, including County Executive Tom DeGeese and HCCC Board Chair Bill Netchard. The kickoff was appropriately followed by our annual celebration of student achievement and excellence on the 6th floor of the Gabriel Library, honoring more than 120 students. And I know a number of you were there. It was an inspirational evening. I want to particularly thank Veronica Gerasimo and her team and faculty and staff across the college for really a fabulous tribute to our students. And as you're aware, there's a dizzying array of other inspirational celebrations of student achievement happening around us. I can't even keep track of it all, but it includes our student honors presentations, our honorary society inductions, our EOF dinner and celebration that just happened, the celebration of graduate students in our LGBTQ community with the first ever lavender graduation that I think was fantastic, celebrations of student art, and so many others. What an exciting time for our students and all of us as we approach our commencement on May 30th that I'm pleased to share. We'll celebrate a record number of Hudson County Community College graduates, and I think a record number that are recessing, making space even more challenging, but what a good problem to have. And finally, as I know some of you are aware, I'm going to be joining NJCU President Sue Henderson and other educators in a 9-day trip to China beginning next Friday that's sponsored by NJCU's Confucius Institute. This is a privately funded institute that promotes Sino-American relationships and partnerships. President Henderson invited me to join her on this trip that's going to include meetings with Chinese educators and business leaders. I'll be interested in exploring possible partnerships that might benefit our students, faculty, staff, and community, including recruiting international students, exchange programs for faculty and students, workforce development, who knows. I do want to note that with the exception of the travel, the Confucius Institute and the Chinese Ministry of Education are covering all expenses of this trip. This is not a vacation, although I'm not complaining. Although, I have to tell you, it's a weird time to be going to China. I don't know if you're following the federal news, but I was saying coming over, I hope I don't wind up in prison or something. But anyway, I'm going to be away from next Friday, May 17th through Sunday, May 26th. Back in time for commencement, of course. Dr. Friedman will serve as acting president during this time, although I can be reached as needed. I'm told, I've never been over there, I'm told you can use your cell phone like you use it everywhere else, and laptop and such. The only challenge is we're 12 hours apart, so but I should be contacted as needed, and I certainly will look forward to sharing what I learn when I return. So I'm going to stop there. I'd be happy to entertain questions, comments, and certainly encourage you to share other news or information that might be valuable to our colleagues. Yes, sir.
Well, I see Burl over there, and I know that Burl Yearwood and John Marlin have crafted a unique program for granting credits that will flow into a unique program in STEM. Do either of you want to talk about the union? This is for a union, and the STEM faculty unanimously approved this.
Yeah, sure.
I put them on the bottom.
Hi, everyone. One of the things that Dean Margolin, who is currently chilling on a beach in Aruba, and I have been doing is working out how we can grant credit to students who enroll here who have significant, what we call prior learning. Sometimes they've gone through an apprenticeship, as is in the case that with the electrical workers. Sometimes they have taken industry training that leads to certain kinds of industry recognized credentials. Some of you in IT might be familiar with Cisco certificates or Microsoft certificates and things like that. And so we've developed a process by which we're going to determine credit that can be awarded and publish it so that students don't have to go through the whole work-life portfolio process, which is what they're restricted to now. Now, we had some very promising talks with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, who actually, Local 164 would actually like to start an associate's degree program in construction management with us that's very much parallel to what we're doing with Eastern Millwork. That is, the apprentices who are doing their training up in Bergen, they would go to a job site for 3 days, they'd get a day of their apprenticeship training, they'd do a day at Hudson. Their board's got to approve this and so on, so we're a ways away on that. But what we did agree to was to look at their curriculum. Now, apprentices in any trade have to take a whole lot of classes. And what we determined was that all those classes that they take could be, and the outcomes from them was equivalent to the outcomes from about 22 credits worth of classes here at Hudson. And so we'll be making an agreement with the IBEW Local 164 that anyone who completes their apprenticeship will automatically receive 22 credits towards their construction management degree here at Hudson. And that's just the start. We started talking with the operating engineers, and we'll do the same thing with Local 825. We have had meetings scheduled and then postponed with the carpenters and the plumbers, but we'll get around to them as well. So the idea that we want to do is work with these labor organizations, look at the curricula that they go through, articulate credit so that all of them get through to that construction management degree, whereby they can advance their career.
That's phenomenal. We did that very same thing at my former institution, Community College of Beaver County, And if you think about it, it's, it used to be, if you were you were a union apprentice, a journeyman, you were on a different track than the academic track, and we know there are great jobs, family-sustaining wages, but if you wanted to go on and be a leader or a manager or own your own business that requires a 4-year graduate degree, you'd virtually have to start over. Now you can do both, and so we're providing the opportunity for your leadership to have apprentices be able to get on the pathway we now have, so that later on, if they decide they want to own a bachelor's or graduate degree and pursue leadership and management in other areas, they can do that, because the work they're doing as apprentices is credit-worthy. So I think that's fantastic. Others?
There's another piece to this, Jim.
Okay, good.
That John is proposing to Denise for Perkins funding. John is proposing that the construction management faculty be able to benefit from a new faculty development program that I'm forgetting the name of.
Faculty Guild.
The Faculty Guild, which is very enhanced, focused faculty development in specific areas. And this would be our first opportunity to do this as a Perkins project. So those people that are teaching in construction management would also benefit from this very complex training, not training, but set of seminars to develop their teaching skills further.
Fantastic.
Very holistic.
John, since Lori isn't here, could you also speak about next week's Holtz Technique event?
Yeah, sure. You can all hear me without the mic, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So on next week, I think it's Wednesday, May 15th, we are having the official, what we call signing ceremony for the Holtz Technique Academy. This is the apprenticeship program that we have devised with Eastern Millwork. We call it a signing ceremony because we're actually structuring it after, like when these rookie baseball players get signed, there's nice photographs of them signing their contract and the smiling owner of the team there. Well, that's pretty much the way we're going to do it. But we've got some real VIPs coming along. Dr. Reber, of course, but county officials, city officials, and I think maybe the German council to the New York consulate is coming along, because Eastern Millwork is very strongly associated with the German apprenticeship model, and they've been friends for a long time with this guy. He's very excited that we finally learned something from the old country. So it's really going to be an exciting day, exciting celebration. Lori and I have been working on this for about a year now, and it's like we're rubbing our eyes and saying, yeah, this is really happening. Wow. So that's going to be a great day.
Kudos to you. I hear the governor might even come.
The governor may be there, yeah.
And the first students are in the program, right? They'll be taking a course in woodwork at schools of tech over the summer.
Yeah, this summer, yeah.
And then they'll go right into the curriculum and the joint work experience.
Yep.
So all the initial apprentices are in place.
That's great. Really great. Others, yes.
Hi, everyone. So first, a couple of weeks ago, we had the Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day, and we had about 30 kids coming. Everyone was so excited. I really want to thank all the departments that helped us create the day and the activities, including the library, the nursing, the STEM faculty, the education. So it was a full day event. And in the morning when I asked the kids, what are you most excited about? They said, ice cream. So all of those activities would not be the same if we didn't have ice cream in the afternoon. So we'll keep the ice cream, but everyone had basically said, we want to come back next year, and we want pizza, and we want this and that. So we have some very high expectations to meet for next year. But thank you everyone who was able to stop by if you could, and everyone who helped us sort of create that day. And another announcement is about next Wednesday, May 15th, will be our first coffee hour with HR. It's just an opportunity for an open forum, just like this one, but maybe sort of in a smaller setting. And I do want to create it as a series, so the first one will be just come meet Anna. For those employees that I may not have had a chance to meet personally, or in a smaller group. And so we'll have one in the morning at the North Hudson campus. We'll have one in the afternoon at the Journal Square campus. There was an announcement that came out, or communication that came out. We'll do a reminder next week as well. But like I said, this is a series that we want to start. So we want to be able to have the events be helpful to the employees. We want to talk about the topics the employees want to talk about. We're also mindful of the different populations and schedules, and so we'll be setting them at sort of different days, different times, to make sure that we get more people, not more people, but sort of more different kinds of people able to come, including our adjunct population. So we'll have, one of them, we'll try to have it more in the evening hours. I'm happy to answer any questions, but otherwise I encourage you or your employees or your staff or your faculty to just, if they have questions, come to those events. It's really meant for the employees and for us to hear back in terms of what we can do better, what programs we want to prioritize. I think it would be great for everyone.
Wonderful. That was a wonderful event, and thanks for doing it. Sheila.
I have two different announcements. The first one is we got final confirmation from the County Commission on Health and Senior Services, and they have arranged for us in conjunction with the state to provide 3 different sessions for mental health first aid, and we will be doing that at 3 different times this summer, and we'll start off first with the student-facing services people, and then the state grant goes through the end of December, so there's more potential for other opportunities. The program is an 8-hour program, so we will do 3 in the summer, 1 in June 10th, mid to late July, and early August are those 3. The other update I have is on Achieving the Dream. We have an 8-person committee, a selected committee of the greater committee, who will be going to Phoenix on June 17th. It will be Dr. Reber, Dr. Friedman, Tricia Clay, Heather DeVries, myself, Jason Figueroa, Sirhan Abdallah, and Joe Caniglia. And we already have homework from ATD that the entire committee will be getting today that we have to complete by June 7th. So that's the ATD update.
That's fantastic. I think I warned you there is work in this. It's all starting, but it's going to be great. And thank you for the mental health counseling service. Vitally important.
Yes.
Others?
Pizza. We're really good at that, so I'm happy about that.
How many pizzas did we go through at Pizza?
33 pies, so 263 slices, a pizza with the president.
And it was supposed to be an hour, but they were
Oh
all
my God, it went so
gone.
fast. I felt bad. The student walked in and was like, animals. Going off of graduation celebrations, there's some numbers for you all where we are at in terms of ticket distribution. So we had graduate salute events. We had one in North Hudson, one here at Journal Square. Last year was the first year that we started one in North Hudson, which was really fantastic. We served 111 students at North Hudson and 333 students here at Journal Square, so hopefully there's luck in triple numbers. But through those 2 events, we served 444 students, handing out their tickets, allowing them to purchase their cap and gown. One thing we do at the Graduate Salute event is raffling off free and discounted tickets, so Lisa was able to be the raffle lady, I guess that's what word that is. And we've been able over the years to increase the amount of discounted and free cap and gowns that we've given out. So 2 years ago we were giving out $2,000 worth. Last year I think we hit like $3,500. This year we did over $6,000 for free and discounted cap and gowns. It was really great for the students. So at this point, we've given out about 530 sets of tickets, and we'll continue through. And I do have to tell these all the time, I have to give a shout out to Upasana, assistant registrar. She is digging in and finding students who are ready to graduate and letting them know, which is fantastic. And we are really at a record high, actually in the time that I've been here, but forever. So yeah, excited for commencement.
Those events were unbelievable.
Yes.
Fantastic.
For those who haven't been, we bring in a lot of different offices. The energy is great, so many students, I mean, there's always different tweaks, but we have a lot of representation. This year we included advising and counseling, so having students sign up for instant decision days. So students who may not necessarily know their next steps, they got the chance to kind of take that next step there. The library came down, we were decorating caps, so you're gonna see a lot of really nice caps on the floor that day as well.
Fantastic. I just continue to be so amazed at how much, and not only the number of events, the quality of them. Every event is well done, well attended. I regret that I can't get to a lot of them. But I did get, my partner and I went to Paint and Sip a week or two ago. Fantastic. And then, as I sipped, my painting got more colorful. But it was great. It was great. I mean, you do great work.
No, we have a great team. We really passionate about what we do, and I'm very blessed. I do have a question as well, so total opposite. So looking into negotiations, very excited, of course, being part of the administrative union for the work that was done, and thank you to everybody who was part of those conversations. And I know that you all can't get into too many details, but I just wanted to get some updates in terms of, obviously, across the board, faculty, support staff, that the same kind of path is going. And I think above all, we know that the compensation for our faculty needs to be brought up, and I'm sure, maybe moving forward, or that is being worked on. So just looking for another update on that in terms of the work, in terms of the
Sure. I mean,
conversations.
so obviously I can't talk about the details of the negotiating issues, but what I might do is just take a step back, and I'm remembering at my very first town hall meeting on July 1st, 2018, we talked about this, and I think ever since then what I've been trying to reinforce is that we on the administration, and I speak for the board, we're totally committed to addressing this long-standing challenge at our college and beginning to make progress and beginning to seek to close gaps between salaries, let's say, and market, and also address equity gaps. And we are going to do everything we can to get as far as we can in this round of negotiations. At the same time, we're not going to solve all the issues in one fell swoop, but it's going to be an ongoing process. And so I think I feel really good about how far we've been able to get with the academic administrators, and I know we're making very good progress in the other three cases, and I can tell you in those cases as well, we are committed to making as much progress as possible. You can see that now, I think, in the agreement that's being approved next Tuesday. It isn't getting us as far as any of us would like to. The reality is it's just going to take time. But what we're trying to do is approach this at every opportunity. And by the way, I've reviewed all the idea survey comments. I think there were 340 people that participated or thereabouts. 25 pages of narrative comments, single space. I have reviewed, and lots of numerics, and I've reviewed every single one of them, and I want to share them with you. I had intended to do it right away. Then as I read the results, it became clear to me I really can't do it until the negotiation. I want the negotiations to be over so that we can have a full discussion, which is the reason I'm not talking about them today. But what I will share with you is those were enormously helpful. Every single comment that you will eventually see, all the feedback, enormously helpful. Not surprisingly, this issue is prominent in the concerns. And so at some point, when we discuss this, I'm really going to want to talk much more in depth. Hopefully when the negotiations are over, we can really talk much more specifically. But what we're trying to do is use every opportunity to to try to make progress. And so early on in my first year, between last July 1 and now, when we've had an opportunity to make some progress, we've tried to do it. Now the challenge of that is, I knew we had to wait for the negotiation process to make progress in those units. So that's what we're doing right now, and it's fundamentally important. But when we've had the opportunity through changes, through people leaving or tragic deaths, where we had opportunities to try to do things like restructure, that give some of our own employees opportunities for growth and for reclassification. We've done that. That has actually assisted a number of people, I think, to grow. I know in my listening tour, there was a lot of feedback that we need more opportunities for our existing employee workforce to be promoted and to move up in their careers. And wherever we have that opportunity, we want to do it. When the county executive last November made the decision that county employees' minimum wage will increase to $15, we used that opportunity to do it here. We followed his lead. It wasn't budgeted, but that made some progress for those employees, our part-time employees that are hourly. When we did that, it also then created a problem of compression. So the new minimum is $15, but we also have folks that are here earning $15. We recognize there's a compression problem there. That's the work we have to do, and we will eventually try to address that issue. So every time we make progress, it also impacts other areas. But we're going to keep making the progress as we can. I believe that if we can get all 4 contracts finished, my goal is to get them done by the June meeting, because really time is important. By all perspectives, I think time's important. The academic administrators are now going to have their retroactive increases, which is great as well. So we want to get them done, and I think you'll see that at the end of the day, we're going to be in a much improved situation, but there will be more work to do. One of the things we know we have to do is create over time an infrastructure and HR position classification system that doesn't currently exist. This is one of the reasons we created the VP for HR role, and one of the reasons Anna's here. That's exceedingly important work, but we can't rush it. We have to do it right. So once these CBAs are finished, we're envisioning bringing in a consultant and really beginning the work on that, looking at all the data, best practices, comparing what we do to like institutions not only in New Jersey but elsewhere, and eventually creating that kind of system that will then give us new opportunities to continue to make progress around things like internal equity, processes that need to be in place that aren't currently, so that we have a consistent opportunity to review and update and ensure that gaps aren't happening. I'd like to see eventually not only a position classification system, but a built-in component to that updates salary ranges by some external measure like the CPI, so that you actually have a built-in system that helps to ensure that you don't just keep losing ground because the system hasn't been updated. I can tell you this is going to be work that will require multiple steps, and it'll be work that we will continue to do, and we want to make as much progress as we can. On the administrative side, of course, we also have to make sure that whatever we are agreeing to in terms of budget is something that is a managed risk, I would say. It's always a risk because you don't know what your enrollment's going to be, but we're taking as much of that risk as we can to get us as far as we can, and then we're going to keep going. And I want it to be a totally transparent process. I don't know if that's helpful. I'd invite others to either ask questions or chime in if you have anything to add. Okay, others, thank you. I'm glad you asked. Yes.
Lisa from nursing. Hi. Hello. In nursing, as you know, it was International Nurses Day on Tuesday, so we had a great celebration. It was Men in Nursing, and it was fabulous and interesting. Secondly, we have some artifacts in the gallery that show about nursing and about how our program came from diploma to here. So it's in the gallery in the front, and it's very interesting. If anyone, for the whole month of May, it will be there. And also, I saw some of you at the health fair, so we just want to thank our students who volunteered to do blood pressure and all of that with the allied health programs. They did a great job. Yep.
Fantastic.
And Suzette and I are in admissions, and we set a very high bar for nursing and the acceptance, and we exceeded it, and we have a wait list. So unfortunately, I hate to say that, but a good problem to have. But we don't like people on a wait list, but we had a high expectation and we met it, so we're good.
That is fantastic. I'm curious, if you know, what proportion of our nursing students are male right now?
We have about 26 to 30 in our group.
Percent?
Yes.
That's, I think, above the national.
Mhm.
That's excellent. I'm sorry I missed the speaker. I really wanted to.
That's okay. And I've been working with nursing for 21 years, and when I started, 0 men. And I've always been in admissions with Suzette, and now it's amazing.
I have to tell you, every time I look at an enrollment report, nursing and allied health, it's just, enrollment keeps growing. And I know how hard that is, but I know it's a result of really hard work. And it's also important because it's like the #1 area of occupational need in the country, certainly one of the major ones here. And those careers are fabulous for our students. So.
It's not just enrollment, it's the excellence
Yes.
of the program.
94% pass rate.
I mean, bringing this group over to Hudson County Community College has been just an amazing, amazing thing. The professionalism, the teamwork, the sort of family spirit. This group performs. They are incredible. They deserve
Absolutely.
a round of applause.
Absolutely, and Chris Wall's not here, is he? But he has just shared some data that are very, very interesting, and frankly, I want to spend more time with them. But I really appreciate his having compiled some data about our graduation rates and our completion rates. And what he has reported is that we have been making progress over some period of time in the proportion of our students that are completing. So what he has shown us in the data is that our completion rate has been growing faster than our enrollment growth rate. And there is some, I would say, incremental progress we are making in shaving the amount of time it takes to complete here on average, all of which is great news. I think the caution in it that I'm seeing, and maybe this is something we can talk about at another time, is that nonetheless we're moving in the right direction, but it's still, if his data are accurate, it takes over 8 semesters for the average or median graduate to complete here. 8 semesters. And so one of the things that he was saying is, it's not low, it's slow but not low. In other words, and we've known this even in middle states. We've talked about this for our middle states review, that while our completion rate at the 3-year mark, which is what the feds start with, is low, like 10%. When you go out to 5 or 6 years, we get much closer to the norm of like 40 to 50%. So that's all great, and we want to keep that momentum going. On the other hand, if you think about it, 8 semesters, you think about our responsibilities as part of an educational community, as part of the entire educational post-secondary community. We're responsible not only for our graduates, our students being successful in meeting their goals and completing, that's important, but 90% of our students, I think, something like that, certainly anecdotally it's been that in my interactions with them, come here wanting to complete a baccalaureate degree or greater. And the fact that it's taking them 8 semesters to get to the associate means they're running out of Pell funding. there's only 12 semesters of Pell funding available, and then you don't have any more. And it also means that we know that slowness works against students being able to continue on who want to do that. And it makes it harder for them to ever get to the bachelor's and the graduate. So, plus, it takes you 8 semesters to finish an associate year. All that time you're struggling with financial things, and you're not getting into the workforce in a way that you want to. So, while those data are helpful, and I'm hoping we can be looking at data, this is the kind of thing I hope we can do through our Achieving the Dream work as well, is really start to look at data like this, and then really dig into it and analyze, well, what does this really mean? And how can it then inform our practice? What I took away from it is we're making progress. I told the Pope not to call. That was Glenn's joke. That was Glenn's joke last year. But we really have to focus on how do we get that time down to a more manageable period that's manageable, not only in terms of meeting goals, but in terms of being able to transfer, in terms of being able to have enough Pell funding to continue on, etc. Okay, other comments? Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. A couple of updates about the Eastern Millwork Center. Governor Murphy has actually confirmed, so he will be at the event. Should nothing change, we shall have the governor of the state at the signing next Wednesday. The Jean Carlos Award. The college has received a $30,000 grant to put together a conference to serve at-risk and justice-involved youth. That will be happening this summer, sometime in August or September, so stay tuned for that. Please support to the best of their abilities. We're working with the Department of Health and Human Services of the County of Hudson. So that will be happening. We were actually, Catherine and I, it's been a marathon. We're trying to get a consultant to run the event, guided by Lori, so that's happening soon. Stay tuned for that. Toastmasters update. We're having a meeting next Tuesday. It will be one of our last meetings of the semester. If you are around, feel free to come. It'll be in this building, 5th floor, from 12 to 1 p.m. And just a couple of shout outs to the College Life Committee. We have put together some events in collaboration with student activities, the Department of Cultural Affairs, the Sip and Paint was one of them, also with the Allied Health and Nursing, the Health and Wellness Science. So great stuff happening. In order to bring that back next year, we need a board. Angela and Jennifer both have assumed new roles in the All College Council, so those positions are open. If you are interested in serving as chair or secretary of a committee, please reach out. I know Angela has sent out a survey asking people to vote and nominate themselves or others for those positions, so please look into that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Others?
I have a quick update, or I guess a couple quick updates. Commencement, for those of you who are inquiring or attending, May 30th, 6 o'clock, and I will be sending out very detailed, specific instructions because we're doing some different things this year in terms of more people sitting on the stage to make more room for our graduates. So look for that, and if you haven't RSVP'd either to Alexa, if you're a member of the PEC, or Linda, if you're a faculty member, please do, because every seat will be accounted for. So we really need to make sure we know who is coming so that we can make sure you have a place to sit. And then we will be having a rehearsal the day before for those who are just, not a rehearsal, I forget what the term that John told me, but we're gonna have it in the STEM building, so more of a walkthrough review for people that are faculty marshals and helping students get into their seats. For many of us, especially me, this is our first time coordinating commencement, so we want to make sure we leave no stone unturned in terms of details. The other thing I wanted to plug is we are partnering more and more with organizations to help our students addressing their basic needs. I think you've heard us talk about that many, many times. So we're going to start a committee. This will be headed up primarily probably by Dr. Clark with my assistance, called Hudson Helps. And if you're looking to volunteer, or you'd like to volunteer, please reach out to Dr. Clark. And this will be addressing, we're already doing the food pantry, as you know. There are donation bins now throughout the campus. Please, please, please donate. Our North Hudson pantry is looking very, very sad. The pantry has food insecurity, honestly. So please donate if you can to both. And then we're partnering with NJ Snap. Sylvia and David are working on a flyer and advertising so that students in CTE programs know that they could be eligible for food benefits through NJ Snap. We are working on a policy for emergency loans for students when they run into issues like utilities being cut off or flat tires, repairs and such. So we're looking to form a committee because we know a lot of you are passionate about these things and probably have some connections and ideas that will help. So that is that. And then the last thing is last night we held our 3rd annual guidance event at the Liberty House. We had, I don't know what the final count is, it had to be close to 50 counselors from Hudson County schools. We had probably close to 20 staff members, so thank you for those of you who came out. The weather did not cooperate. We didn't get to spend much time outside, but it was a beautiful evening. They got to eat and have some cocktails. Dr. Friedman joined us and spoke. I gave an update on all the new things happening at the college, and Matt introduced the admissions team. So they really appreciate that event. We're going to keep doing it. We got a lot of positive feedback just about the college and the good care we're taking of their students. So those are my updates.
Lisa, any updates on enrollment?
So, I was afraid you would ask. So we are in good shape for summer 1 and summer 2. We're up in both for overall enrollment. We're specifically up in summer 1 for new students and down in summer 2 for new students, which is a strange anomaly that we have not been able to explain yet. But we still have time for both. So as everyone knows, summer 1, what's that?
Oh, I was saying, during summer session 2, it would be hotter, so.
That could be it. That could actually be it. So now we have our answer. So summer 1 starts on May 23rd, so please encourage students to register. Now, what's really important also is that final grades get in as soon as possible. I'm texting all of our continuing students right now, and one of the primary answers I'm getting is, I'm waiting for my final grades. So I cannot stress enough to faculty that those grades have got to get in. And then, because that will help the students know if they even need to take a summer class or should take a summer class, and they don't have a lot of time after the semester ends at May 23rd. For the fall, we are down slightly. I'm sorry to report a couple percent. It really fluctuates every day. It's like a roller coaster. I come in every day and I put in the numbers and I either smile or I frown, but it is too early to tell, but we are down right now. So hence the outreach to continuing students. Phone calls, text, emails, and so forth. So any student you see passing on Sip Avenue or anywhere, please encourage them to register. We're up in new students for the fall, which is really, really positive. And we're very excited about that, thanks to Matt and his team and everyone. So that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, so go ahead.
So as the world of CCOG turns, the governor has, or the state I guess, has made some different adjustments because they're really trying to make it successful and impact as many students as possible. So I think everyone knows that they did offer it to the 6 colleges who were not part of the pilot, so they retroactively will go back and award all of those students the grant, which is great because it's less financial aid they have to use. So they'll, I guess, return their aid and then just use the grant to fund them. And then yesterday we got news, this is good news for our nursing and culinary friends, they will also be covering fees, which they didn't. So there's a cap. It might not cover all of them, but Sylvia? No, Sylvia's at a financial aid event right now learning more about this. But I think there's a cap of $2,500 or $3,500, which is pretty generous. I think it gets them pretty close. So that's really great.
That's great here. We strongly advocated that in recent meetings.
Is that a semester or a year?
Just for the spring.
Oh, just for the spring.
Just for the pilot.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're retroactively going to go back and award those students, which is great. And then we are really, really hopeful, of course, that the budget will pass for the next year. But yes.
I was at the budget hearing yesterday where that was being discussed. So we're hoping it becomes, the governor would like to grow the amount of money in the fund going forward. And we have, in the community college sector, been advocating expansion of some of the parameters. So currently the total family income is limited to $45,000. We want it to be adjusted to the median, which is $77,000. We are asking that dependent students be eligible if they're part-time in the governor's proposal. They have to be full-time. we are proposing summer eligibility, and I was pleased that a legislator, a senator yesterday, was asking why aren't summer students eligible? And and a couple of other things. So we're trying very hard to advocate, the kinds of changes that will allow us to serve more students. Other comments or questions? This is great. You're going to force me to pick on something. Go ahead, David.
The textbook
Yeah.
law that was signed, can we get a little bit more information about that, like how that will affect us?
John, or is Mike in here?
No, I'll do it.
Sorry, John.
That's all right. So, as I understand it, the bill that was signed into law requires us to have a plan
Okay.
for deploying open educational resources. And we have a plan. We'll be having a workshop for a group of faculty on May 28th. Present there will be members of the library staff and Center for Online Learning staff who will assist these faculty to curate OER and get it deployed on their classes. And I'm quite certain that 5 of our top 10 enrolled classes will all have sections offered this fall that are a zero textbook option. There'll be no cost for instructional materials. And then we're just going to keep rolling it out further from there.
CSS will be one of them.
CSS will be one of them, yes.
And so John and Michael Welpley, who've been leading the charge, are going to report to the board next Tuesday on this. Others? John? I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody. We're trying to get a transfer program to Montclair State University, MSU, on track for nutrition and food systems, and we're attempting to start it this summer, but unfortunately we need a cohort of 15 students, and we want a strong cohort to start this program. So we were able, through Mongoose, to send out notification of a information session scheduled for this Tuesday at 6 p.m. where to 167 culinary graduates from the last 3 years. And I just spoke to Janine. We had about 30 graduates get back to Janine requesting information on the information session. So hopefully after this Tuesday, we'll be able to start to create some momentum to get a strong cohort together to begin in September. We also, this coming Friday, a week from today, Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m., the Culinary Club will be having a friends and family event for $25 to raise money. You can register for it on Eventbrite, and it's only $25. It's all the students. It's a culinary club. It will not only be in the park, but it will also be in the building. They're doing a mock restaurant setup as well too, where some students have developed recipe items. They've been working on this all semester, testing the recipes, and there'll be a little mock small plate restaurant operating as well too. So if you're interested in that, it's a great investment for $25. And it's one of the only events whereby culinary students' families can actually come here and enjoy the food that their children prepare.
Nice. Thank you. Others? Jack, I'm looking at you. I know you're doing some good stuff. Would you like to share any? And I'm just going to embarrass him for a moment. I had an opportunity to have a really wonderful conversation with one of the people in Jack's unit the other day, and he just volunteered really wonderful comments about your leadership and how much it's appreciated and how you really did with the college forward.
And I didn't pay him that much, did one of the things we just recently rolled out, it's on a portal, and we've got flyers going to be at all the security posts. It's something we call Operation Greenlock. Okay, in any time in life, but especially in an emergency situation, situational awareness is critical. and simply means that's knowing what's going on, being in tune with your environment and changes to it. So what we've done in public safety is we conducted a survey of all our buildings here at General Square and at North Hudson, and we've identified rooms that are safer than other rooms, okay? And what we've done is we've put a green lock icon over the door of the doorway of those doors. Now, when we say safer, what we're talking about is a room that's open, available to anybody, generally, and that you can go in there and instantly lock the door should the need be to shelter in place. Okay, so the icons are universal in both campuses. There's more information on the portal. Now, the absence of a lock doesn't mean the icon doesn't mean that room's not safe or that it will lead you to a safer place. But the green lock tells you that you can go in there right away and lock that door. Okay, should the, God forbid we have a need to shelter in place. Okay, because situational awareness is an active, ongoing thing. Let's make this an Easter egg hunt. I'm not going to tell you where they are. I want you to find them on your own because I want you to be aware of it. So if you're visiting a different floor or you're visiting a different building, these are things that I want you to look at. Okay. I said there's information on the portal. We're going to have flyers at all the security posts. Any questions about it? I'll be more than happy to answer. If it's not now or you think of something later, any member of public safety will be able to hook you up with that.
And Jack, do you want to talk about Narcan at all?
Well, sure. Last month we had 25 members of our in-house public safety people and the uniformed outsourced security guards went through a Narcan training that was hosted by Rutgers University Medical School. And for those of you that may not know, Narcan is a opioid overdose reversal drug. So if somebody was experiencing a opioid overdose, and unfortunately Hudson County ranks second in the state for opioid overdoses, it's very high. And also, sadly, of the opioids submitted to the state police laboratory for analysis, 38% of them contain fentanyl, okay, which is an unknown quantity for a lot of people. So, in-house public safety and the outsourced security went through this training. We have Narcan kits at each security post. Should, God forbid, we have to encounter that. And I'd also say that if anybody, we all know somebody who either knows somebody or knows somebody who knows somebody that's battling with an opioid addiction. I do have kits available in public safety. I don't want to put anybody on blast. If anybody wants to come to me because they have a need at home or a neighbor or whatever, come see me and we can hook you up.
And in the idea survey, remember comments about just, are we making progress on emergency preparedness? This is obviously top of mind for virtually everyone. Can you speak to that at all?
Well, we are making progress. I mean, since I've got here, we've included a bunch of things to get us up to speed where we need to be, not only in security, but as far as some OSHA and life safety code issues that we're getting up to speed in. We're also going to partner with the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. They're actually going to come in and do an audit of what we have in place, make suggestions to us, and they actually act as the conduit for federal grants. If they see any, once they do their gap analysis, if they see that we're short in one area or we need improvement in one area, they'll help us secure funds to fill that gap. They're ready to go. It was a little crazy. I asked them, let's get through middle states, let's get through the commencement, and then we're gonna hit the ground running with the Homeland Security and preparedness.
Excellent. And how many of you carry the active shooter card? So a reminder that Jack's office put these out, and I carry it in my wallet. And it's really, God forbid if we're in this situation, I encourage you to have this with you. and we're gonna wanna do more of this kind of thing.
Sure,
active shooter
absolutely. And if you
training.
don't have one of these cards, you pick it right up here, they're at every security post, we got them right here out front. Please, take extras, take them home, because they're the same, it's the national standard, you know, whether you have a loved one that works in a different building, same policies should apply, that's the national standard, so don't be shy, you know, we're not charging you for it.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Doc.
Others? Is that a wrap? Okay. Well, thank you all. It's Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. And thanks for being here. Thanks for everything you do.